Right, yo, boy, Seafoam Soldier, and with us today we've got
It's me, Floppy Bob. Hello.
flopping all over the shop.
I'm flopping everywhere right
So
now.
yeah, so sorry for the slight, unusual time with this stream. Bit of a manic weekend. Also a bit tight on time as well, but we should have time to go through everything. Still spill all the tea. So yeah, hopefully it's all good. The usual quality content, you know. But as such, one of my memory's terrible. I watched the episode like 3 days ago, so I sort of skimmed through it again. So I think I reminded myself of what happened. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll get through it. We'll do all right.
We've got this. I
We've
believe
got
in
this.
us. I
Yeah,
believe in the heart of the cards or something. I don't know. Uh,
that's us.
there we go.
Right, so between us would be all right. So let's start at the top of the episode. So first of all, we had the mini challenge, which was selling RuPaul's chocolate bar, obviously. What do you think of the mini challenge?
I loved it. I mean, in fairness, I'm just glad that there are mini challenges again. It's a welcome break because I think this is exactly like I think I've said it in one of the streams before, but it's exactly the thing I kind of love most because you actually get to see the queens being fun and it's less serious and you actually get to just enjoy it. And I just think it was like so. For example, Blair St. Clair like dressed as Wednesday Addams tap dancing was something I didn't realize I needed, but I'm so glad I've had in my life now.
Yeah.
It was just it reminded me of that, was it like season 6, that like one of the final challenges they had where they had Rue was just there and they had to do like a series of weird things, like when Bianca had to be a baby but a sexy baby.
It was just like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I loved it. I think with that stable of queens, that was actually the perfect balance of people to have doing that, because you had someone like, for example, Blair, who was just loving it. You had these bizarre, whatever this Irish accent was that happened at some point, and also I think the Jamaican accent that happened. All of these deserving of air quotes because there was nothing particularly authentic about them, but it was kind of wonderful. I love that Monet Exchange's version of singing something Irish was to do this slightly strange operatic version of Danny Boy, and I was just like, this is incredible, and I've fallen even deeper in love with Monet Exchange based on this.
Yeah, totally. I said they all sold us a sort of different fantasy, didn't they?
Right.
Which I liked. Everyone was totally different and really funny in their own way. There were no duds really at all. Apart from, ironically, Miss Cracker.
Yeah, hers wasn't as great as I was hoping it would be, just partly because I love her, but I think it was still okay. It just wasn't like, for me, it wasn't like absolutely killing it. And
I don't know. I thought it wasn't. I thought, because again, like, she's a comedy queen, so I expect her to do well. That's sort of a perfect challenge for like improvise sort of something ridiculous like a chocolate bar. That's like the perfect challenge for her. She was the only one who didn't do well, I thought. Really.
Yeah, it wasn't her strongest moment, but yeah, I mean, I think especially given her witty comebacks, like, in the first episode with the whole thing, like, there are no accidents in fisting. I was kind of hoping for that kind of level of like quick, snappy, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, it didn't quite come there, but I'm sure we'll see a lot more of that to come, especially things like Snatch Game or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Someone can't be at 10 at all times, I guess. Hi, thanks for joining us, by the way. Yeah, so who do you think won the challenge for you?
I mean, Blair St. Clair, I think, was hilarious. I really loved Monet Exchange's one. I think it was right, the people who did win that, actually. Because who was the other one? Asia was the other one, right?
Was it Asia?
Yeah, she became team leader. So yeah, she was one of the other winners, and she was funny. I think she's an interesting queen. Like, she's one who I hadn't really expected to like as much. Well, not to not like, but I was kind of. I thought I mean, I remember from the Meet the Queens, I was like, oh, she looks like she'll be interesting. But like, Asia surprised me in a way. I'm like, oh, like, you're a lot stronger than I had anticipated. I mean, obviously, Meet the Queens is such a short kind of thing anyway. I mean, I thought like Vanjie would be higher up based on that alone, but
and she should have been, to be fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she comes back.
No, neither would I. I hope she would. I hope she does. She'd be the first returning queen from any main season that I actually care about coming back. If she does come back.
So many of them, you're like, oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Aisha Lopez, we needed to see more of her.
I know. I've had enough cuckoo, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a comment saying, I hope this has been an awesome season. It's been great thus far. Yeah, totally. It's been definitely back. It's like an older season, isn't it? It's like it's been great so far, definitely.
It has that kind of season 5, season 6, and season 4 kind of vibe of just like a really good, solid stable of queens, drama, which we'll talk about later, and I mean, as much as I don't always want the drama, I know that sounds
You love the
counterintuitive.
dramas.
Watching a drag show and be like, oh, the drama's a bit annoying, but like, you know what I mean? But I think it's like the right stable of queens. All of them, you know, right from the off. There aren't that many queens that really feel like filler queens in the same way that some seasons you're like, I mean, because I was rewatching season 6 the other day, and it's surprising when you watch it and you just think it was such a strong season that someone like Trinity K. Bonet came like 7th, or was it 8th? Something like 7th or 6th, maybe.
Totally.
And you're like, oh, like actually that's quite weird.
That's the thing. Season 6 is only my go-to season to introduce people to, but I'd happily recommend season 10 to people to start off Drag Race with.
Yeah, it's a good one so far, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. A couple of notes about the mini challenge actually. So I thought Mayhem's makeup actually looked better in the mini challenge than it does like on a runway usually.
What was hers for the mini challenge?
It just looked like it's super pretty. I don't know. I think she's got like a pretty face generally, or a face that like
yeah. I think that's the thing. I feel like her face in drag is so kind of as much as she does mix it up, is always very quintessentially Mayhem. Totally. And I really like that. Not silhouette, whatever it would be for the face. I like that form.
The makeup silhouette.
Yeah, it just sounds like makeup just kind of pressed onto like a
exactly
makeup wipe, like a Bianca makeup wipe.
Yeah, a reverse makeup wipe. And also, I could say a similar sort of thing about Aquaria as well. Aquaria's makeup looked great in the mini challenge, I thought.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because I'd heard a lot about her. Like, I hadn't really seen her much online, but I'd heard that she was one of those like very famous ones online compared to the rest of the cast. And I'm starting to see why, at least makeup wise. It's just like it's very, very pretty, very well done, I think.
Oh, totally. Like just completely polished. Also, I think it's her creativity in terms of the look she serves, which has made her so big.
I've been really enjoying her look so far.
Same. What's interesting, again, is skipping ahead a little bit, is the actual rivalry between Miss Cracker and Aquaria. In the actual drama between them, I don't think is that extreme. I think they're really bigging it up for the show. But in terms of looks, like Miss Cracker killed the first look for the first runway, and then Aquaria's look last episode was amazing. The green look, and then
that was so good.
Her look this episode, but then again, Miss Cracker's look last episode, the gold one, was great as well. The crack on the head. But this episode, definitely Aquaria with the bird being shot with arrows. Like that was an amazing look.
Beautiful.
Again, we'll go through it properly later. But I think like both of them serve really interesting, really creative looks. So like that's a rivalry I'm interested in. Like who can like bring the best looks this season? You know.
Right, and I think that's as well. It's kind of a more fun kind of rivalry because it's actually based on talent as opposed to like some hearsay here and there. Which is like. I mean, that's what I'd rather see. I'd rather see them like out, like actually again with rewatching season 6, the whole Derry and Ben thing. Where you're like, oh god, this is so like it feels so contrived after a point. Whereas you kind of just want to see them both be like, look at this look that I absolutely killed, and the other one be like, fair, she killed it. You know, like I think I kind of wanted that more than like, she's so full of herself. You know, Jesus, whatever. Okay.
Oh, totally. But then Darian though, like, do you think she's gonna be killing the looks?
I never really liked her that much aesthetically. I have to like
exactly
her looks. I never quite fell for them in quite the same way. But there are a few that I thought were really good. But
okay.
Like the black and white one, the black and white one I thought was really good of Darian's.
I want for the wedding.
The one where she had the lip sync against Ben.
I don't remember.
And she's kind of like black and white, and there's like the silvery thing. The one where she like collects money in her, pretends to collect money and put it in her like tits while she's lip syncing.
No, I need to watch it again. I think
that one
she'd have some polished looks. Like she was pretty good generally.
Yeah.
I've been told I'm shady. I think I've probably nice so far, haven't I? Generally, I'm worried about Darren. So then what happened next? Then they were getting Then they were split into teams, and the teams were pretty fair, I thought, generally.
Yeah, it was a good setup. Yeah, because I think, was it last week where you had that team that was like Miss Cracker, Monet Exchange, the Vixen? I've forgotten. There are a couple of really other like amazing queens in there, and you're like, oh, okay, like you've literally got probably a lot of the future top 5 or 6 in your current team.
What did you feel? So it's bizarre. Like Mayhem was acting weird, right? Like the whole episode.
Yeah, a little bit out of it.
Yeah, like I wrote down straight away, like just like what's up, Mayhem? Like, what? She didn't seem in it at all. She seemed disconnected.
Which is really strange because she's so focused in so many other ways that it was a bit weird to see that kind of sudden withdrawal. I mean, hopefully she will pick pick it back up. I'm sure she will pick it back up. But it was a bit weird to see. I mean, I guess it just happens because it's such a high pressure environment that sometimes you just have an off day. And
but she won the first episode, did really well the second episode, right? So yeah, she all like killed the second episode as well. So she had absolutely no reason to feel so like I don't know. I can't figure out what was wrong with her. I think it's maybe because she was chosen towards the end, which also made no sense to me. But like for it to hit her that hard, I don't know. Like I don't know. It's just surprising to see her like that.
Definitely. I mean, because she's so professional and so polished, it was a bit strange. But I mean, I'm sure it's just like one of those off days, and she's going to absolutely kill it. Like,
yeah. I'm sure she will. I'm sure she will. She's pretty about just based on the track record so far. So Mayhem was frustrated with Monique sort of directing, but then remember there's a point where Michelle asked Mayhem a question, and then Monique sort of answered for her.
Yeah.
But then Mayhem she blanked. Like Michelle asked her a question, and Mayhem just didn't answer for like 5 seconds, and then Monique stepped in, and then the confessional Mayhem was like, I don't need Monique stepping in for me or whatever. But it's like you do like answer the question. I don't know. It's just I don't know.
Especially in a group task where it kind of gets awkward if like one team member is just there alone. Because I mean, you could ask the same question. I feel like the same question could have then been asked about Monique. Like, okay, so how comes when I ask one of your teammates a question, she doesn't know what's going on? Like, the same thing could be said at Monique. So I see why Monique got in. I don't know. I mean, obviously none of us were really, really there, but like, I mean, it did seem like Monique was kind of a bit controlling in it. But I also feel like actually the pressure that partly because of last week, I feel like a weird pressure has been put on group tasks in the sense that because the Vixen was the group leader and then won, I feel like now everyone kind of saw that as like, shit, okay, like team challenge, I have to win because then I will win the challenge myself. And I do kind of feel like that. I mean, I don't know. It might have just been the group of girls who were there, but it did seem really interesting to me that suddenly all the team leaders like, shit, like do this now, in a much bigger way than I'd expected, actually.
But then with Mayhem, I suppose she sort of needed it because she was so sort of placid, right? She didn't really do anything, so she sort of needed directing. Again, we've got a comment saying Mayhem could have done a lot more with the dominatrix role. Which I agree with, but also at the same time, I mean, she seemed like really like timid as even as a dominatrix, really. Like she looked really sweet. Wish she could have done harsher makeup and played up to it a little bit more. But like I think the main issue was she didn't really have many lines or like much of a role, and the joke didn't necessarily work. I think the joke may have worked if it was handled better.
I completely missed the joke.
Sorry?
It was only in the judges' critique that I realized what the joke was meant to have been.
Oh, same. I didn't get it either.
It was like as they were talking, and I was like, because I was like, why the hell is Mayhem doing Thingy's part, Cameron's part? Like, why is he doing the voiceover when Cameron's there? And then later they were like, oh yeah, because you're meant to switch it up, and I was like, like you're not meant to, right? Because that could have been handled in a much more visually simple way. I feel.
Yeah, I got it, but like at the end, like by the end of the take, sort of thing. But no, I agree. Like it wasn't obvious. But the reason she didn't have any lines or much to work with was her own fault because she didn't contribute anything when they set everything up. So it's just frustrating again. So I think we expect more from Mayhem because she has performed so well, and we know she's capable of a lot more. Yeah. So it's just frustrating for me watching her, like
absolutely
perform like that, not doing herself justice,
At least that's happening early, I guess, and it's not like a late in the game flail where she might just actually end up going home. But
maybe, yeah, exactly. I agree. Soothkin's saying, I think Mayhem thought if she spoke up, she'd be edited to look like a bad team player, but ended up looking worse off anyway.
Yeah.
It is definitely tricky, isn't it, with that sort of stuff about the way you can potentially come across.
Right. Particularly in, by that point, how many? There were probably 12 queens left. Yeah, so 12 queens. So you've got 12 giant personalities, all of whom have been there for 2 weeks, enough to kind of start getting a bit settled and a bit more in the game. And to then, like, that is, I guess, the point where you don't want to be kind of casually knifed early on, especially as I'm guessing Mayhem would know that she's strong competition. Yeah, it's a weird one. I do feel like, I mean, she absolutely, I feel like that did shoot her in the foot a bit because having voiced a little bit more would have maybe kept her safe. Although I'm glad that we got that lip sync, I have to admit.
Yeah, true. But you have to, being assertive is so important in the show, isn't it? It's just delicate that, you have to handle it a little bit delicately.
Right. If you look at someone like James Mansfield, who just kind of disappeared
Yeah, but
or Layla even.
That was probably for the best with James, though, to be fair.
But yeah, I mean, like that kind of disappearing didn't help her or Layla when actually that could have kept them in there just a couple more weeks just to get them.
I don't think so with James. Layla maybe, but not with James.
With Layla, yeah.
It's like a Calorie situation. It's like Calorie again. Like, I don't think Calorie was particularly bad. It's just she obviously wasn't on the same level as the other contestants. So even if she did anything differently, I don't think she would have stayed.
No.
You know? Like, she just wasn't on the same level. It was the same with James.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you look at kind of the best drag look for, I mean, this is obviously jumping back an episode, but the best drag look for Calorie is like, oh, like, I mean, like it's good, but like, look at the competition.
Exactly. Yeah, and she does have good makeup skills. She was entertaining and fun to watch.
Oh yeah, she's a sweetheart as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I do like her a lot, but she's just again, it's the same with James. Like, I'm hard on James, but I feel like it's the show's fault, really, because if he'd been given a few more years, if he was on season 12 or something, I'm sure he would have performed a lot better.
Right.
The same with Calorie. Like, she's just not ready yet. Like, she's got more developing to do to get to the same level as the other contestants. It just seems harsh to me that I brought her on this season.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then we had some more workroom stuff. Again, like if I'm missing anything or anything you want to interject with, let me know, because it's a couple of days ago I saw it. But we got Dusty's story, right?
Yeah, God. I mean, that was like a sucker punch out of completely nowhere. I mean, what a heartbreaking story, but also how amazing that that Dusty was able to overcome that and be in such a happy and healthy relationship, and to reach such a happy place in her life. Like, that's, I mean, incredible. Given, I mean, I don't know how I would have coped with that at all. No,
exactly. But the interesting thing is, like, Dusty interests me because he's obviously a drag queen, but his personality is quite sort of sweet and laid back, which is like a bit of a juxtaposition to the typical drag queen. And especially going through what he went through, I sort of would have thought he'd be more sort of like aggressive, like not aggressive isn't the right word.
On the defense, like on the defensive.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like more of a Laganja sort of personality based on what he went through, like very much in your face, like this is me, like I'm be here. But it's like really nice. He's gone through all of that, and it's still just like his confidence emanates in a completely different way. Like not in your face.
Right. What I'm really glad about is I'd heard, I saw like a rumor while I wasn't looking for, like a spoiler ages ago while I wasn't looking for one, that said that Dusty was first out. And I was like, really, like, I was like, oh shit. And then I started watching, like, oh, so Dusty survived the first episode, but then like, but maybe Vanjie comes back, and then therefore Dusty's still the bottom. And then like Dusty survived another week. I was like, yes, this is good. Like, because I really want to see more of Dusty. Like, I think Dusty's, I mean, I wasn't as much of a fan of this week's look, but
no, we need to talk about that.
Dusty's aesthetic as a whole is something I absolutely adore.
No, I agree. Again, it's just so different. It's just like, again, he's got a really unique aura about him. Like, the image he portrays is just awesome. I know, I really like him a lot, and personality-wise, it was nice to see more from him because he is so laid back. Like, he's not like he blends things. I've always found him very interesting, but like just to, he had like a few minutes like focused on him, and it was really nice to sort of see that, despite it being a sad story. But I feel like I know him a lot better as a result, And then juxtapose that literally straight after. I want to talk about this properly, but the Vixen like came in hard for Aquaria.
Yeah, it was such a weird setup because I kept on wondering. I was just like, at any time, either one of them could have just gone okay and just gone silent and stopped it. And I was just like, both of you stop poking the hornet's nest. Like, stop it. Because there was at one point a time where I think Aquaria basically could have just gone, okay, cool, whatever. If I stop, you look bad now. That kind of thing. And instead Aquaria was like, but your wig. And I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking hell. Like, I mean, that whole wig thing I thought was ridiculous anyway, because even regardless of the wig, Vixen absolutely killed it look-wise that like last episode. Like, there wasn't really much I thought for Aquaria to come in on about that.
I need to watch it. I didn't get a chance to watch it again. I meant to. But like, did Aquaria start it? I'm
still not quite sure who started it. I feel like something was brought up about the Aquaria Miss Cracker thing. And then that somehow brought in the Vixen, and I think it's somehow
That's what I thought. So it's not like Aquaria went up to the Vixen. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, carry on.
So it's not like Aquaria went to the Vixen and she's like, I don't think you should have won. I don't think you should have got the praise you got for your outfit because that wig wasn't yours. Like it was sort of born from the Vixen, like negging her sort of thing, poking her, prodding her.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because then I think at one point it would have just died and just fallen to the wayside, and I think then kind of Aquaria stirred it back up by saying the whole like runway thing, which obviously is going to piss off the Vixen. Like, there's no way you could say that without. I mean, whether that was a counter attack or like a first attack, I mean, at that point, Aquaria just should have shut the hell up. I think.
That's the thing. I agree, but I think it's sort of irrelevant in a way. You know, watch it back again. It turns out Aquaria did sort of start this episode. The Vixen came for her for the last 2 episodes. So, like, and it's difficult because Aquaria is like a child. Like, she's a bit dense, and she's definitely not faultless in any of it. I'm not saying that at all. But the Vixen is just, again, I think Miss Cracker summed up perfectly in Untucked, where it's like, you don't need to come in at a 10 every time.
Yeah.
And again, like, I feel like people are agreeing in the comments. We're going to talk about that Suitkin as well in a second. We'll talk about that. But I feel like, again, it was a different argument in Untucked, wasn't it? What was the argument in Untucked about?
Oh God, it was kind of about everything, wasn't it? It was. It kind of came back to the wig thing, and it was kind of. But then it was also a little bit about general persona, and then like the Vixen feeling that Aquaria was kind of entitled and kind of coming for her. But then, I mean, a lot of that, I was just like, I don't really, where sometimes you watch 2 people have an argument and like you very much lose track of where anything went, and you kind of think at any point this could have stopped, and none of the rest of this was necessary.
That's like, Vixen's fault. That's Vixen's fault. I completely agree that it didn't stop. Like, Vixen kept pushing and pushing and pushing to the point where, controversial. I was going to say, controversially, I feel like it got to the point where it was bullying. I felt really uncomfortable.
There were parts where I definitely felt it got to that, because I think there was a moment where Aquaria again kind of stirred it back up again, but where basically I feel like it would have naturally fallen, and everyone would, it would have been kind of like that moment where in season 4 where there was an argument, and then Kenya was like, Jesus is a biscuit. Like, I felt like it would have hit that kind of moment where it would have just gone quiet. Someone would have made a silly wisecrack, and the rest of the episode would have gone on as normal. But I feel like at some point there was a moment where, like, I felt like, I don't know, I feel like either of them could have been the bigger person. And I think there was definitely a moment where I remember thinking that Vixen at that point could have just gone, okay, whatever, and like stopped. Vixen would have come out that better and wouldn't have had to fight anymore. Aquaria would have come out that better, and it would have just been better for everyone, I feel. But I also feel like there were moments where Aquaria could have done that.
I agree, but I do definitely think Vixen's more to blame. Like I said, I think at the point where Aquaria was crying on the sofa and wasn't like fighting back in any way whatsoever, and then the Vixen just kept digging, and she was like, I hate you, you're doing this, you're attention seeking, you're making me look bad. And we'll talk about the race thing as well in a second. But it's just a point where if someone's crying on the sofa next to you, like it was genuine. Like I don't think it was fake crying, and it could have been an overreaction, sure, but she was still crying next to you and wasn't fighting back, and you still sit there like going in for like another 2 minutes. Like, to me, that's bullying. It's like you're just hitting someone when they're down, I
think that's what I found uncomfortable, because I kind of thought, actually, if either one of them wanted to win the moral high ground in that argument, they could have actually just for a moment just kind of been like, okay, whatever. And I feel like either one of them would have been judged less harshly based on that, because they would have kind of been like,
at the end. I know she did it later than she should have, but Aquaria did do that, and then the Vixen kept going, and that's a part where I feel like it crossed over to bullying.
There was a really interesting moment where I think Aquaria, because after the Vixen mentioned something about race, a little bit later, Aquaria said something like, actually, I see what you mean on that, or I've heard that, I know what you mean about how Black people are treated differently when they say certain things, how the racial biases of viewers often plays in very differently when a white person does it to when a Black person does it. And I think the Aquaria kind of said, like, actually, I get it. And I mean, the Vixen did say act like it, which was a little bit petulant, but also I feel like there was a little bit, there was something for me was like, actually, the Vixen has a bit of a point on that. Obviously, it's difficult for me to speak about that as a white person. I guess there's a lot of there's a lot.
That's a difficult thing with discussion. Is like, I've got certain thoughts on it as well, but obviously I don't have the same experiences as a Vixen, so it's hard for me to, to, you know, obviously that's my sort of view with stuff. My view with stuff like this sort of thing is I feel like anyone can have a say on anything, even if they're not part of the minority or the community in question. But I feel like the views of the person who's in that minority or community should be valued more than someone who isn't. So that's sort of my stance in sort of stuff. So bear that in mind with what I say. But I feel like I agree. I feel like she had a good point with that race thing she said. But then like you should leave it there. Like it went on, and then like she kept pushing it, and then like you said, like when Aquaria was crying, and she's like, I understand what you're saying, but she was still crying because she couldn't help cry. And then the Vixen's like you said, she's like, act like it or whatever. But it's like she's already sort of acknowledged, like she's agreeing with you, but she's still crying because she's upset. Like don't what more do you want her to do at this point? Like she can't stop crying. I don't know. Like it was just it just felt like bullying to me. And then go on, sorry.
Oh no, so I was going to say, because I think it's quite a strange setup anyway, Drag Race, isn't it? In the sense that you are physically isolated from family, friends, support groups, any of those kinds of things, and you're basically locked in a room for most of the day, and then you go to a hotel room alone, you know. And so I do wonder if, you know, so many of these things, if they were in the quote unquote real world, a lot of these things would have just been ironed out really quickly. I feel there's a lot where this escalated really quickly, because if you're upset in the workroom, where do you go? You know.
Well, I don't know. See, to me, again, it felt a little bit disingenuous from the Vixen's part, sort of thing, because, like, I think, again, I feel like a lot of people I've spoken to have a sort of view of Vixen, and even like her opening thing sort of suggests it, but she's come in to be the bitch sort of thing and get screen time and like just keep fighting, and like I don't know. I think she's doing it for screen time and to portray a certain thing because she knows like the producers are going to keep her around because she's great TV. You know, like and in a way, it's sort of like not invalidates, but it lessens her points. Like she has fair points to make, and like I said, I don't think Aquaria is like in the right throughout the whole thing or anything like that. But like her behavior just sort of like dampens her points and move things back. Because like this is potentially it's not my place to say. But she goes on about like, you know, when she brought a race card in, which I agree with her core point, but about being portrayed as an angry black woman or whatever. But like at the same time, you're portraying yourself in a certain way. Like you could dial it back, and then you would, you know, potentially be portraying your community in a better light. You know?
Yeah, I think that's where it gets really difficult, isn't it? Because you're kind of, when someone's like, I think that's what I found really difficult to kind of swallow, because it was like, okay, so, or to kind of wrestle with was saying like, oh yeah, I'm being portrayed as an angry. I think there's an interesting separation to be made here, which is almost treating it as two separate things, which is the visual of Aquaria crying, or any white queen crying.
That bitch, I completely agree with that.
And the Vixen looking like the angry black woman. That, I think this is where I was like, absolutely 100% agree with the Vixen.
Exactly.
And then I was like, okay, but then in terms of actions, coming in literally your opening word saying, I'm here to fight, or whatever it was exactly. And that then being coupled with some of this. And I do wonder, because it's like, at the same time, I don't want to kind of tone police her and say, you know, like, oh, you need to be respectable, you need to be whatever.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say, like, obviously, like, I'm not saying, you know, don't be true to how you feel and react in a certain way because, you know, you're worried about what white people may think, whatever. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But my point is, at the same time, you can't use it as an excuse. Like, I can't be like, I don't know, like I'm trying to put myself when this sort of situation happens where I'm not a black person, I put myself where I'm the only, you know, say I'm a gay person and everyone else is straight, and then, you know, I start like going off or whatever, getting all sassy, but like to a bad extent, and I'm like, you can't tone me down or whatever because like you don't know my life and all this sort of stuff, and like I'm being portrayed a certain way, like, but I'm like, at the same time, like you can't use it as an excuse, you know, like you need to better yourself. And I don't know, like it's just like, you don't, like, I don't understand, like take race or anything out of that situation, like it could have been handled better, you know.
And I do definitely think that if that argument had happened between two white queens, the other white queen doing that to Aquaria wouldn't have been seen in quite the same light. Like, I do definitely think the racial element there is strong in the sense that the way the fandom particularly reacts to certain queens, particularly non-white queens, is often horrific. Like, just, I mean, the amount of abuse that's been directed at Kennedy.
Oh yeah, that is
Or Chi-Chi,
ridiculous.
or
Yeah.
And so, but then at the same time, yeah, coming back to what you were saying earlier with people coming in and being like, I am going to be the bitch. It's something that I've always found with any queen. I found a bit kind of frustrating because I'm like, actually, take someone like Bianca, for example. Like, Bianca was a bitch, but in a kind of like, she was like, okay, I'm gonna beat you with my talent first, and I'm gonna make a couple of snide quips along the way. It wasn't full on like first episode, okay, adore, you're a piece of shit. You know, it wasn't like and that's kind of where I feel like that difference might come in, because I mean, even though I do feel like the racial element is strong, I feel like, I mean, it would have been lesser if she was a white queen. I feel like she should have been judged less harshly, but I think people would have still been like, oh, for fuck's sake.
See, I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky one. So let me just go through the comments quick because people have a lot to say. So I think Suta King's made a great point, which is Aquaria and Vixen both seem very mature in different ways.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that 100%. And Omar saying it's definitely a race issue in the drag community.
Big time.
Although someone's disagreeing with him. And Omar isn't buying Aquaria crying. He thinks she just ran out of comebacks, which...
I saw a couple of comments like that floating around. And I have to admit, like, I wasn't quite sure how genuine it was, but I'd also had like 1 hour's sleep and I was on a train. So I was just like a little bit out of it anyway. But I did wonder personally how authentic it was, but kind of, that's kind of what made me think even more like, actually, you know, like the Vixen's point about how that looks visually, whether it's authentic or not, is not, you know, a good image. And that will be treated with such racial overtones. It's kind of... unreal.
And I suppose, like, in a way, I know, to Vixen's credit and her point, like, Aquaria, even if it is, I do believe it was genuine. I mean, the main reason being is the fact that she understood the Vixen's point and she agreed with her, but yet she was still crying. So, like, I do think the tears were genuine. To me, it just seemed genuine. But even if it is genuine, in a way, it's like white privilege to cry, to be that delicate, because maybe the Vixens had to have been harder because of race issues she's encountered in her life. I don't know. So I get that point completely. But again, like, my thing is just like, I don't think you should, you know, whether it's true or not, you should still always strive to better yourself, especially if you're putting yourself as a representative for your community, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like if I was black watching the Vixen, I would, again, see her point, but I'd be angry or a bit pissed off by the way she was portraying her behavior as like, okay, for our community, you know. But again, obviously, I'm not part of the community, so I'm saying my opinion is pretty much invalid anyway, you know.
Yeah, I think that's what I found really difficult, because it was like, just as every time I kind of start to kind of crystallize how I felt about something, I was like, also, I don't know how okay it is for me to have some of that opinion, because like it doesn't personally affect me in quite the same way, you know. It's and that's what I found really tough. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes forward into the next episodes, because I've heard a rumor, which I again didn't want to hear, thanks YouTube comments.
No
this is like ages ago. I won't at all, but you know,
knowing people in the chat, just in case.
But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this unravels, because I mean, both of them are incredibly talented queens, and it would be such a shame for this to be the memory that anyone has of either of these two queens by the end of the season. Because, I mean, for example, look at, like, I mean, I can't remember what Vixen's look was for the first week, but for the last 2 weeks, I've just been like, Vixen has been killing it for me visually. And I mean, like, was great in the acting challenges both times. And, you know, I think it would be such a shame for the Vixen to be remembered that way. Same for Aquaria, you know, but I think it actually, it drags both of them down here. And I don't mean that in a kind of sense of respectability politics, of you've got to be like this for your community. But at the same time, I do, you know, as them as individuals, as queens, I wouldn't want to see their talent have that kind of mark next to their name when actually they've got so much more to prove.
But like, the difficult thing is, I think the Vixen's very much coming into the competition trying to portray, or like, leaning towards portraying a certain image or whatever it is. Whereas with Aquaria, I think she is just dense and really immature, like just very
Yeah.
naive generally. So I feel like,
yeah. Sorry.
like even in confessionals, like something we all said, like her head thing or whatever, it's just like you're just
Yeah.
like you just haven't like had time to develop a sense of self really yet. So you're sort of like an amalgamation of like various things like drag culture and like what you be saying and all this sort of stuff. So I mean, like, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Do you feel like both of them have come into this show like in their mind being like, I'm going to be that bitch, like I'm going to be that one, because I think in the sense that like the way Aquaria's come into it feels very much like, I don't even need to be in this competition. I'm going to prove that actually, with the little head nods as well, but like I'm going to prove that you I'm going to be the first queen to win who actually deserves it. All of that kind of bullshit. And that kind of elevated, I'm that bitch, watch out for me kind of narrative runs through.
She's not really, I agree, but she's not really carrying it through in the actual show.
But like, I think that was her intention going in.
Maybe, but she hasn't got the balls to back it up potentially.
Yeah, whereas I think actually like the Vixen has come in with like, I'm going to be that bitch, and has actually kind of met that more. She's kind of come in more kind of all guns blazing and whatever.
Yeah, but I think Aquaria's coming into show with that sort of idea because she thinks that's like how a drag queen should be, or like it's not as genuine. Whereas the Vixen's like, I think to me it comes from a place of being stupid with Aquaria, Whereas the Vixen like it's just like blinkered, like this is who I'm going to be, like this is, and again it's sensible in a way because you're getting the screen time, you're going to be kept on the show because of it.
Yeah.
It's doing a disservice to yourself and your quality of drag, which is very high. Yeah. And also, I don't know, like again, I can't speak for anyone, but I feel like a disservice to the points you're making because you could be portraying them in a far better way. Like I said, your points make a lot of sense and have validity, but I just feel like the way you're portraying them is, and the sort of way you're behaving generally is just countering your points. I don't know.
Right. No, I mean, I have to admit, the Aquaria reminds me a lot of a friend of mine. Who like literally wanted, like their whole kind of raison d'etre for getting into drag was they're like, oh yeah, I just want, like it literally had, I mean, I'm not saying because Aquaria has the chops to back this up, but like was literally like, I'm gonna get, without the head nods, I was about to do the head nods, that wasn't my friend. Like, but kind of doing the whole like, oh yeah, I want to be a drag queen because I want to be like, I want to have people being like, you're fierce, and I want to be like, bitch, I own it. Like, and I want to be bitchy behind the scenes with the other queens. I'm like, I feel like you're not really getting into drag for the right reasons. But like, not saying that Aquaria is necessarily that, but I feel like the same idea applies in the sense of like, this is what a queen is.
Exactly.
And especially a RuPaul Drag Race queen. And like, this is how I get onto the show. This is how I succeed in the show, without realizing that most queens who have done really well haven't done that. Yeah. So I feel like I agree that like Aquaria is kind of a bit stupid in that sense, but incredibly talented, which is really frustrating. It's like, bring it.
She has a natural creative talent and skill set in makeup and design, but everything else is sort of needs development.
Yeah, that red leather look from the first episode, that kind of like boob tube, like kind of red leathery boob tube thing with like the spiky hair thing. I still like, is one of my favorite looks from the season so far. And like her one for best drag last week, I was like, also hands down, absolutely fantastic, one of my favorites.
It's my favorite time that.
Yeah, and so frustrating to just be like, oh, Aquaria, just like stop it. But I feel like what's going to happen, because it's reality TV, is that there's going to be some kind of narrative arc that pulls both of them through, and they're going to be like best friends.
I don't know. I hope so. But the Vixen seems so stubborn. Like she seems like she's not willing to budge at all. Whereas again, that's why I think Aquaria came out okay in the end. Although again, she was a nightmare, but she did like see the Vixen. When you have a discussion or argument, you have to be able to see the other person's point of view to at least an extent. And Aquaria showed that she was able to do that. Whereas the Vixen just wasn't listening to what anyone was saying at all, so that makes me concerned.
I think that was difficult because I think that it became, a few other queens kind of tried talking, and it was just like, oh no, okay, it's like the Vixen's kind of cutting in. But I don't know, it's a weird one. I guess what I'm worried about is that it will go round and round in future episodes. Like I really hope that this argument at some point just stops, even if the way it stops is one of them either going home or just kind of saying, you know what, I'm done. Like whatever. And I kind of hope it's the latter, because I don't really want to see either of them go home anytime soon. They're both very talented.
No, I agree. Okay, so we're running out of time. So Sutakin sort of agrees with us. People in the chat, I feel like, again, everyone has different views, but I feel like no one's like totally disagreeing with us potentially, but it doesn't mean like our views are correct, especially mine. I don't know. So comment down below if you're not watching live and let us know your thoughts on the situation. We might talk. I'll probably end up talking about it more next week. So it's bound to be continuing. So yeah, and again, like I'm open. I'm sure I need education on certain things. So yeah, feel free to educate me. So let's go. So we're running out of time a little bit. So let's go through the runways. So we're sort of burning through the looks, and guys, again, give your comments down below or in the chat now, and we'll go through them as well. So what do you think of Rue's look?
Oh god, what was it again? Sorry, I always forget Rue's look.
Sort of thing.
It'll come to me in a moment. You say your thing about it first, and I'll probably eventually remember what it was.
There are tons to say. I just loved it, like a gunmetal-y, like dark titanium-y sort of. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just really cool. Again, it's just like another look where it's like you ain't came to play, you came to slay. You know.
Yeah, I love. Maybe Rue thinks he's actually competing. He's like, I won that challenge. Like,
yeah, exactly. Although, like Michelle does, you know, she always like subtly that's a challenge.
You always feel sorry for her. Like she's in the background, like, is he going to pick me for next season? Like,
exactly, definitely. She's just sitting there like, yep, nailing it. Okay, let's go through the actual queens then. So Blair.
Oh, I loved this. Yeah. I mean, Blair is one who's really started to grow on me. Like, I kind of hoped that she would grow on me because I kind of felt like she'd be the queen I'd like, a kind of queen I'd like. And like this week, I was like, yes, okay, I get it now. I loved it. I thought it was a little bit simple compared to some of the other ones, but at the same time, it was beautiful.
But I liked it. It had like a tragic element to it because it wasn't it was like a half plucked bird, or the feathers are falling out, and it looked a bit, but like beautiful at the same time. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I liked it a lot. The only thing is, I didn't particularly like her hair or her makeup with it. Like, I think it was too like innocent, pretty. I know, like I think I like the old school. Old school's not the right word. I'm trying to think a better word to say. Like the period sort of vibe of it was nice, but it was just, I don't know, if she had like more of a tragic sort of look with it, I would have liked that more, like more disheveled potentially.
I agree, because I think the feathers were kind of, there's a little bit kind of like a dirtiness to like parts of it that kind of could have told that story, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it just could have been taken somewhere else, which I would have preferred slightly. Sutikin loved Blair, said it's very, very old Hollywood, which I totally agree with. Cracker's look.
What was that again? Sorry.
It was a bluebird, like for her friend.
Oh, I mean, I felt like that could have been made a bit bigger in terms of like as a concept, but I still thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. It's obviously the story is very like, it's really sweet for her to have done that as well. I like the bird's nest in the head. I liked it generally. Again, I don't think it was amazing or anything, but you know, it was nice.
And I think it was nice that she didn't go for a comedy look. I mean, obviously her first look wasn't comedy really either, but I was hoping that she wouldn't have anything too kind of kitschy to it, because actually that was such a beautiful story that I think it worked so well by itself, and that kind of slightly tragic, well, very tragic really.
Even the bird's nest sort of worked, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't too like campy or kitschy. It still sold the story well, you know. Eureka's look.
I actually really liked it. Again, like I haven't always liked her looks that much. But I thought this was good. I liked the kind of drama of it, the kind of very dark kind of crow of the night, this kind of beautiful
crow of the night.
That's not a phrase that anyone uses. Nobody says that, but okay, quoting.
Yeah, exactly. I should get your t-shirt. So like crow of the night with like a winky face underneath.
I'm gonna just use it as like a code and see if anyone like catches on. I'll be like, yeah, it's very crow of the night, and then just walk off and see what happens.
We'll make it a thing. Don't worry. Sutikin saying he likes Miss Cracker's look, but the story is better than the outfit. I don't disagree. I think that's fair. He's saying Eureka. I feel like I really liked Eureka's look. Like it was impactful. Like it wasn't the best look there, but it was cool. Like I like the juxtaposition of the gold hair and like the white eyes with the black look. Like the black sort of like overshadowed her, and it had a presence. And yeah, I liked it. I think it was cool, especially for Eureka. So the Vixen's look.
Oh, I loved this. I thought it was really clever that if you're going to have like a peacock kind of look, to not have it kind of as this like, I mean, I know this is also said in Fashion Photo Review, but I totally agreed, which is like, not to have it as like this big elaborate thing like breaking off you, but this very subtle, sleek silhouette. And I like the way that like that she sold it with the kind of like kick of the leg to kind of swish it round. I thought it kind of added this really beautiful like kind of performative element to it that I loved. I just that was like, I'm like, it was weird because I remember watching a not a countdown, a kind of video about all the queens done by by Soju, and they were talking about, because obviously she's Chicago as well. They were saying that how the Vixen is not always known for looks, and I've been really impressed because I think I had that in my mind, and then I've watched the Vixen and just been like, oh, actually, I didn't really like the Chicago look as much, the entrance look, but actually ever since I've loved pretty much everything she's done.
See, again, I think a lot of it's not for me, but I did love this look. I think it was great. I think what I liked about it is, like, peacocks to me are like really elegant creatures, and the dress was sort of extremely elegant and like beautiful.
I totally agree.
As opposed to like over the top and in your face, which I guess peacocks also are. But it was like the other side of it she was portraying. I really liked. I think it was great. Like, I think I would have liked a softer makeup look personally, and like maybe like a different hair. Because again, her hair was like quite cool and like modern. I get it; it did work. I did like it, but I just would have, like, I don't know, like something a bit more elegant, like maybe flowy hair, or I don't know.
Either way, I thought there was something very subtle about it. It was just like, it was very beautiful, and I mean, I adored it.
Yeah, I agree.
One of my favorites.
I think it was great. My Neeks look. Do you remember?
What was that?
Like the white gown with like the big gold feathery cape.
Oh, yeah. Again, I thought elements of it were really beautiful. There was a little bit, like, I did find the dress a bit meh. I loved the big feathery. It felt very much like whenever you have like a music video and there's like someone is just like coming down from heaven, because that happens all the time in music videos, and you kind of get this very graceful kind of, and I loved the way that kind of that shawl, or that whatever that was, kind of flowed out. It had a nice movement to it that I thought was really, that's how it moved apparently. Woo! That's how birds fly. But I just thought, I thought it was good. But I did find the dress a bit simple. But then again, at the same time, if it had been too decorated, maybe that would have distracted. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good look, but again, like, not as strong as some of the other ones. Like, I wrote down, where is it? Like, I preferred Blair. It has like similar color scheme to Blair's with the gold and the white, but I think I liked Blair's look a lot more. It has some elements. I think Monique uses a lot of gold in her makeup, which I think is really nice. But I've sort of seen it now. You know, I sort of want her to. I don't know. I guess she has done a few very looks, and she has done some great looks as well. But I don't know. Sort of, this look is sort of what I would expect her to do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
yeah,
I liked it. It was good. But then, like, someone like the Vixens, look, caught me off guard, in a really positive way.
Yeah, Monique's one who I still can't quite put my finger on whether I like her or not, or like how much I'm rooting for her. You know,
I
like,
agree.
I don't know. I feel like I need like one really good challenge. I feel like I need a snatch game from her to like kind of work out how I feel.
Yeah, I'm really on the fence. I'm really up and down with her. I totally agree. Like, her outfit in the 99 Cent Store challenge was one of my favorites. Like, it was amazing. And some of the stuff she said has been really funny generally, but then the other times it's been like a bit annoying, and like, I just don't know. I'm totally on the fence. Like, very back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dusty. Sorry, we really run out of time. So Dusty's look.
Oh God. See, again, I agree with Fashion Photo Review. I felt like it was just the shape that having that stuff down there gave was this really weird silhouette that kind of offset her body in a way that I didn't quite get. And I almost felt like I kind of wanted the hair to be more like out and kind of jagged, because I feel like the rest of the silhouette was so out that like having hair that kind of fell to here and then this like thing here, like I kind of couldn't quite make my eye settle on any part or kind of appreciate it as a whole. My eye just kept on darting around. And so I kind of would have preferred that being slightly differently placed, or to have that kind of outy bit really at the bottom. So you have this like long, smooth thing that comes from the hair, like this really like windy, curvy silhouette, and then like a flowing out, because that's, I feel like, a bit more feathery. But then at the same time, she did look like not a bird of paradise. No, what's it? She did look like a bird that I can't remember the name of.
Okay, but if you think like with some tweaks, it could have been great. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically. And because I think as well, I love what she was going for so much, idea-wise. I kind of like, with a couple of little tweaks, I think it would have been my favorite of the night.
Really interesting. Yeah. I wasn't keen at all. Like, for like a second, I'm like, oh, awesome! Like, this is really different. Then, like, the more time I spent looking at it, again in Fashion Photo Review as well, and like even just on the runway, by the end of the episode, I'm like, this is really not great. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like with season 10, especially, in the quality of the caliber of the other queens, like,
that's fair.
Like, having good concepts isn't good enough. Like, you need to execute them well.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Right. So I need to answer the door. Oh, we missed out Mayhem. We talk about Mayhem whilst I'm gone.
Okay. Ooh, the pressure. I now
Not
it feels
pressure.
really weird. I'm talking to myself now. I'm talking to a cushion that literally just says bear hug. Hello, welcome to Grant's channel. We're literally talking to a cushion. So and that weird. Next time the camera goes back to Grant. Please do look at the weird yellow like doll teddy thing that's behind him because it's creepy as fuck. Anyway, so Mayhem's look, I actually really enjoyed. The first time I looked at it, I wasn't fully expecting to. What have you got there? What is that?
My ball
Anyway,
gown. My
oh,
February
of
gown.
course. You're getting ready for the next challenge or something.
Of course.
You're going to come in full regalia next time. No, I was just saying I really enjoyed Mayhem's look. I did the black and pink. I didn't always like the contrast of it. I kind of wanted one of those colors to be subtler, but overall, I really loved it. Hello, person who's just walked in. I'm Grant's television.
Right, sorry, I'm with you. What were you saying? Sorry, you wanted one of the colours to...
I mean, the contrast was quite dramatic, but which I guess is the point. But I kind of wanted one or two, like I kind of wanted it to be a little bit subtler, like maybe a softer pink or something. But I loved the way it looked. I loved the eye makeup with it. I actually really enjoyed it. She was very Crow of the Night.
Yeah, fair. But it was supposed to be like a neon look, wasn't it? It was supposed to be like a big juxtaposition, I guess, with the colours. I thought it was really good, but I guess like the best thing about it was it just worked really well for lip sync. So she sort of went with that.
Oh my gosh, that lip sync.
I know. We'll talk about that in a second. We need to get through this. So Cameron.
Oh, okay. I really enjoyed this. Wasn't quite sure how I felt about the beardy bit. Eventually grew to love it. But again, movement wise, I absolutely adored how the arm, like, it didn't look like an arm when it moved. It felt very like wing-like to me, and I really enjoyed that. Because obviously I stare a lot at wings. That's the kind of thing I do.
You do. That's literally being critique every single outfit is being about how the wings move.
But like that's a really big thing for me. I feel like I can't believe you'd sit here. This is my moment. How dare you take away my Crow of the Night moment from me?
Yeah,
like,
sorry, that's a good point.
I know I really enjoyed it. I still don't really know how I feel about the beard. The kind of beardy bit. I kind of love it.
I liked it. It made it more dramatic.
Yeah.
I know. I felt like I expected a lot from Cameron, as I've said previously. I felt this is like the first episode she actually served me what I was looking for.
Yeah. I kind of liked the butterfly thing last week. But
it wasn't for me. Like I see why it was good, but I just didn't like it at all.
Yeah, fair. Okay, fair.
Because she was supposed to, like she said like in all the things like I've said a few times, but like she's supposed to be serving us like computer gamey, like fancy sort of looks, and like this was like something out of a computer game to me.
I was gonna say, this is the first time I feel like she really like lived up to that promise.
Exactly.
And I was really happy for where that was going because it felt like a boss in like a game. I
like Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah, I could totally see you like playing for a while and then battling Cameron Michaels. In like I don't know, like a lip sync showdown kind of thing.
I'm not sure about lip sync.
Kind of if it was in Kingdom Hearts, it'd be like the Little Mermaid level where you had to do that weird like sing along thing, but it'd be you versus Cameron Michaels. That's how I see it.
Okay, right, interesting. I see where you're coming from to an extent.
Do you? I don't even know if I do.
Yeah, no, just go with it. Also, I've written down no excuse from now on as well. Like now I can see what she can do.
Yeah,
I don't want any shit from her.
I'm kind of worried that she might not last much longer.
Yeah, I don't know
because she's not really had a big standout moment really yet.
Yeah, I agree. But she's similar to Monique in that like she has a lot of great qualities, but also like a few dodgy qualities as well. So it's hard to sort of see what's going to happen. Yeah. My name.
What was her look again?
I can't remember her look exactly, but I've written down.
Oh, no, it was the thing where like I really wanted that middle bit to just be connected.
What was it?
Bit. It was like a red. It was like a red dress kind of thing, and it came down to like almost like a kind of volcano-y thing.
Like period cocktail dressy sort of thing, right?
Yeah, but like it really bugged me. Just that one little bit in the middle wasn't connected. I know it's a really pedantic thing, but like for me, I mean, I guess maybe that was her point. She was trying to do these like two-part thing, but I kind of preferred the idea of that as one whole. But
I didn't even notice that, to be honest. For me, it was just like it's just her padding again. Her padding just looked rough to me. She wasn't cinched enough. Boobs weren't big enough. I don't know. She's giving me box. I don't know. Again, it's like I expect so much from her because again, she is proper funny, Like, and she has got some cool looks. Like her Meet the Queens look was awesome. Her entrance look was great. Like, we could do better, you know.
Yeah, because I've really enjoyed her look so far as well. I think this is the first one I was like, it's okay for me. Like it's I
Oh, her look
enjoy
last
it.
week was terrible. You liked her look last week. It was not
The
best.
kind
Right?
of like the pantsuit. Or
Yeah.
the kind of this.
No, like the
actually,
catsuit, whatever it was, right?
oh yeah. I kind of enjoyed it. She was kind of like a businesswoman you didn't want to mess with. I was totally
Really?
up for that. Yeah,
Like that many sequins?
I love a good pantsuit.
Okay, okay, fair. Let's move on then. Asia.
What was hers? Oh, the Tweety Bird
Tweety
thing.
Bird.
This was a good risk, I thought, because when it first came out, I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was a bit kind of kitschy, but I think the way she carried it was really fun. I think if I'd just seen the look by itself, I would have had really mixed feelings. I would have definitely rotated between loving it and being like, but actually the way she sold it with a little like blowing up of the thing with the hair over her eyes, the way it folded to make the little beak, I was like, okay, she's thought this through. This is genius. And
Again, it's not expected from her though, right? Like she looks like a pageant queen, but that was really creative.
And I think this is again why like Asia's been one that surprised me, because I think again I've been unfair with how I've written her, like not written her off, but I think I expected a certain thing, kind of like I did with Trinity.
Like put her in a box, right?
Yeah, and she's hallelujah out of that box. I think she's I'm hoping she keeps this kind of level of like of not being of being unafraid of looking ugly, or of with the whole like the face thing from the episode, the challenge, or things like that. Because I kind of like Trinity. I feel like she's a queen who could do really well out of being really kind of not what anyone expects.
Yeah, I agree. And like just fast forward a little bit as well, like that sort of was most evident in the actual challenge itself, right?
Yeah,
like, she was amazing.
I really enjoyed her. I think actually because there weren't that many performances that I really loved from the actual challenge itself. Asia's was one that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Blair's one as well. Who else? Yeah, I quite liked it.
I mean, it's all right. It was just pretty, again, like what I'd expect her to do.
I have to admit, I didn't quite get the love for Eureka from this challenge. Like there was all this like, oh my god, you really redeemed yourself. I'm like, she said like 3 lines.
Yeah, I know. It was fine.
I think that's also because I didn't find theirs as a whole that funny. So I think that was also kind of partly it. Whereas what was Asia's one? I think was the only one that really gave proper laughs, at least for me. Again, what was Yuhua doing? Like, what was Yuhua doing?
I know that was terrible. We'll talk about it in a second. Suikin saying Monet meh, but it's good compared to everyone else.
Yeah,
sorry, not good compared to everyone else. And Asia, he thinks he sees a future All-Star in Asia. Interesting. I know. I think she could do really well this season. I guess she's not going to win, but yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a good shout, I think.
So, what about Yuha's look?
What was it?
It was like the things that the ravens are sticking out from behind her, and the red hair with red roses.
Yeah, okay, so I have to admit, the thing that kind of bugs me a little bit from this was how like, oh, but crows represent death in Asian culture. I'm like, so do they in many other cultures. And not to kind of push aside her Chinese heritage and culture in this, but I was like, is she where she's saying that they also have like in Western culture there's a strong association with death as well? Like I don't know. I feel like the judges kind of were like, okay, when she said that.
I think the issue was it just didn't work. Like her explanation.
I think that was the bigger issue, definitely.
Yeah, it wasn't right. She sort of just like skirted around the question. She didn't answer it properly. Like, why was your head red and the rest of you black? And why, like, it didn't. Like, you didn't explain that. Like,
no,
that was a question you were asked, and that's not the answer you gave. I'm sorry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of sad that she went because she's a queen who I kind of want to see a little bit more of.
I don't know. So again, like, I think like she had some, again, I said this a few times, but has some great qualities, but like her sort of, she didn't have, I don't think she has what it takes to have gone much further, to be honest.
I kind of want to see her with a little bit more cooking, like kind of come in, like
I stars in the future. I'll be up for it again.
Yeah.
So Aquarius, that's the last one.
What was that? Sorry.
Oh, how can you forget it? The one where she'd been shot, like the bird.
Oh God, sorry, that was stunning. I love the Saint Sebastian references. I mean, I love a good Saint Sebastian reference. Apparently, that is my jam. As I've realized, every so often I see something with a Saint Sebastian reference.
Who's Saint Sebastian?
So he was, oh god, this is very good. Entirely wrong, isn't he? He was a saint from a while back, and his whole thing is a very homoerotic image of him having been shot with a couple of arrows, and it was a very like this stunning, beautiful image. Just look at the painting. There's a homoerotic element to it, apparently.
Look at that.
Because getting shot in. I was
going to say, I missed
getting shot all over your chest. I don't know. Is that the?
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. But no, it's a thing that I think ever since, it's probably just like the fact that I vaguely recognize that reference, and so every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, I love it, in the sense of probably I recognize it. Aren't I amazing? It might be that. It's probably not. But no, either way, I thought it was beautiful. I loved how like sad the eyes were. This really like gorgeous face, and I think the way it was put together was very beautiful, because so I think Yuhua's little crows looked really cheap, the way they they didn't move either, so you kind of had a crow like that was kind of in standing position, like in like mid flight, kind of like, which is a bit weird. Whereas I think I loved the kind of, it slightly moved a bit with Aquaria's one, and I think that the distance they were from her body of these arrows kind of felt quite, I just loved the way it looked, because that could have looked so cheap and tacky, but it didn't, because she handled it really well.
But again, I think what sells looks like that is like the story was immediately obvious, and she portrayed it well. And again, I've used it quite a few times. I guess like feathers associated with tragedy apparently in Drag Race, but like again, it's always like a tragic look and
but like cool. Whereas I feel like Yuhua's, I couldn't tell if she was being attacked by crows or if she was like a crow of the night, It
was literally just like, like you've got a feather challenge, I'm going to buy some crows, throw them around the back of me, and then go out there and dominate.
They didn't look feathery. I think that was the main problem I had with them. They were shiny. I mean, crows are shiny, but like they didn't have a feathery quality to me. That they looked like they were made out of plastic.
No, exactly. It just looked cheap.
And it kind of like moved, like, whereas like Aquaria's like arrows kind of quivered a little bit, and
I agree. So sorry, just catch up on the chat. So Ghost Critic is saying, thanks for joining us, by the way, Ghost Critic. I don't think there's much more to see from you. I agree. Suzuki's saying Aquaria was very well put together, and her story and garment were equal in strength. I agree. And Ghost Critic, yes, we've talked about Untucked in great detail for like half an hour. So this will be on my channel afterwards. So if you just go back and like skim through to it, I might put like a timestamp in, because the beginning was pretty weak, I feel. And like it all kicked off, the discussion got real when we talked about Untucked. So just skip to that bit, to be fair. Suzuki remembers it well. Yes, that's a look. It's like overall really strong runway, I feel.
I really enjoyed this runway a lot more, because I think, as you've probably guessed with some of my comments on some of the looks on this and other videos, I'm not always like the looks part doesn't always like draw me in as much. I think especially with All Stars 3, because you literally saw like a second of each look. But and I'm not visually clever enough to like get it within a second. I've actually really been enjoying the runways, which I think is either a development in me, or is actually the fact that we've had more of them and they've been strong. Like I really enjoyed them a lot more than I expected. And I mean, they are hungry for it. And I think that's what's so brilliant to see is like these queens are not playing around mostly.
No, like their talent is obviously a level up from recent seasons, I'd say. Like I don't know, I'm expecting a lot like every runway, and they're delivering on the whole.
Right. Absolutely.
Impressive stuff. I've been genuinely impressed all runways so far. So like we've got zero time really. But is there anything like you wanted to say about the challenge that we have, like, because again, I feel like we talked about the interesting thing, which was Untucked, and like the whole drama between Vixen and Aquaria, and the looks. Like the actual challenge itself, apart from Asia being a standout, like actually genuinely funny, I don't really think anything else that interesting happened, did it?
No, I mean, we spoke about
being terrible as well.
We spoke about Yuhua not quite. I mean, we didn't really go into it that much, but Yuhua didn't really get it, and I think that's actually what annoyed me a little bit. Was like she's selling herself so much as this comedy queen, and like this is a perfect challenge to like go in, and she just didn't get the joke. And I was like, this is literally your challenge.
Is it? Did she sell herself as a comedy queen?
Well, I thought she did. I mean, either that or that's an incredibly shady thing of just like, well, she's not a looks queen. No, exactly. I think she's. I thought that was kind of part of her shtick.
I don't know if it is, to be honest. I could be wrong though. But I think the frustrating thing was like all the queens in the workroom were like, "Look, this is shit. Like you can't do this. Change it." And she still just like persevered. I love that Suzuki's already like whipped out his CUNT. Like he knows what's up. He knows with time. He's begging to get it in there, which I appreciate. The only other note I had from the main challenge is that that was it. During the critique, when Cameron's performance was questioned, she's like, I only had like one. She said I only had one funny line, and I think my material was a bit shit. I'm like, dude, like you wrote literally all your material, and like the whole team's material. So...
I did love that when they're like, yeah, my material was really shit. So who wrote it? I did.
Yeah.
And you're like, are you getting this bit here? Is this going to be like an Alexis Michelle moment of like, no, I wrote and produced this and acted in it and was also did the lighting and sent out the flyers. Like it's like, sit your ass down, Beyonce.
I know, right? Okay, right. So let's do our CUNTs, which again I'm not a fault of at all. So you can go first. Charisma.
This is hard. I am gonna go for Asia based on the fact that this was when I really saw. Oh no, Dusty for that story and for how wonderfully articulate she was in talking about it with the other queens and how she kind of ended it on this really nice note of like, I'm really positive. I thought that was beautifully done.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like you can't really give to anyone else this episode, to be honest.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Uniqueness for me is definitely got to be Asia with a Tweety Bird look.
Yeah. That's why I switched, because I was like, oh, no.
I knew you can say that's why I stole it first, so I couldn't.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Not only for the look, but also just in pushing herself. This is why I almost gave her charisma, but pushing herself so far out to do like those were hilarious. Like she got it. She knew what she was doing. Like, it was so wonderfully vacant as a look that I just like I absolutely adored it.
Yeah, totally agree. Nerve.
I mean, I'm gonna probably put like Aquaria and the Vixen in just for like.
No, you got to choose one.
Okay, I'm gonna choose neither.
Okay, go
I'm not picking a side. I'm gonna put Yuhua for the nerve for ignoring every single one of your team telling you how to do something that should have been obvious.
That's fair. Okay, I'm giving it to the Vixen for not like taking a seat at any point, like keeping it at 10, 24/7. Although, like I said, I'm not saying she didn't have valid points, but it's just for that simple fact. Yeah. So T, talent.
Oh damn, I've used up a lot of the other ones, haven't I? Mayhem for that lip sync.
Okay, cool. That's fair. I don't want to give talent to Aquaria after I gave a bad one to Vixen. But it was my favorite runway. I've already given talent to, like I was giving uniqueness to Asia because she was talented in the episode, in the challenge as well. What other runways did I like?
Cameron?
Yeah, okay, Cameron. Okay, yeah, that's a good shout. I'll give my talent to Cameron because it was a great runway.
Well, can we just quickly say, I know we haven't really got much time, but like that lip sync, come on, like that was like Mayhem did everything. Everything there.
I agree.
Like that, like the tearing off of the feathers was incredible. I love that she was this really kind of like dark crow of the night. I'm gonna make this happen.
We do. I'll hashtag it in the title. Don't worry.
Thank you. And then she kind of broke into like this little funny thing with like saying, have you ever felt so used up or whatever it was, and pointing at Yuhua.
Yeah, that was great.
And like that's what I loved was like Yuhua was just like still kind of like doing her little thing to the song, and kind of like slightly off with what the lyrics were really about. And like Mayhem was like, fuck it, like get your ass out.
Again, she was lucky with look though, I thought, because he like the intensity of it worked perfectly.
That really worked. I thought the plucking the feathers and just the dramatic like flourish at the end. Not only those twists, which I thought were like beautiful, like very, very like on point and dramatic, and served that part of the song. Like it's not meant to be a pretty spin. It's meant to be like, bam, I've spun. I'm staring at you with these like evil eyes.
Yeah.
Right. And then like the feathers in the mouth, just at that last like split second, you just see like, because she takes the little neck thing off, like goes to like throw it over her shoulder and kind of like takes a bite as she does it. Like, oh my god, that's like that is how you do it. Like she found the drama of the it's a decent song for a lip sync, but she found the drama of the song in a much bigger way than I was actually expecting.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It was a definite performance. It was like an art installation or something. So I'll go through Suki and C and T. So he's giving C to Monet, U to Cameron, N to Aquaria / a Vixen. Oh, okay. All right. Actually, in a comment down below, let me know which one you're going to pick out of those two. And T to Asia. Okay, that's good. That's fair. And guys, let us know your picks in the comments down below. yeah, overall, really strong episode, right?
I totally agree. I think it was really, really strong. Because I think, I don't know, personally, I felt that the last episode was a little bit more lacking for me personally.
Also, a better showcase of their talents, right? Because like nothing was
Yeah.
for them.
And I mean, like, I also just didn't really think the written material was that good last episode. But anyway,
Yeah, I agree.
but I absolutely loved. I think a lot of queens got to show really good sides of themselves, and queens who didn't do that well didn't necessarily lose much, because I think it was just quite a strong showing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree totally. Also, just to wrap it up, Kin is choosing Vixen for Nerve, which I appreciate. And guys, yeah, let us know your thoughts. That's the thing I'm most interested in, is your thoughts on the beef between the Vixen and Aquaria. So let us know your thoughts down below. And like I said, I'm interested to see how this unravels. But I do agree with you, Bob. Like, hopefully it doesn't go on for too long, because especially as it's really good service to them both. I agree. But anyway, need to bounce. So thanks for joining us, guys. Keep the conversation going down below, and join us next week at a time that I'll let you know about, probably 2 minutes beforehand. Cool. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye. Keep it floppy.